seen amazing success in Vietnam specifically. So really, really thankful for all of your business. So thank you. What I'm here to talk about is what we call the Future Ready Enterprise. And I'm going to walk you through the details of what is the Future Ready Enterprise. But before I do that, there are a couple of key trends that we're seeing in the industry. We see these trends in Vietnam, in Southeast Asia, across Asia, and across the globe. And these trends are the pillars behind which Dell has formulated its strategy going forward. So those will be the pieces I want to walk you through first. The first one, we already talked a little about. Anathai talked about disruption. There is a lot of disruption that's going on in the market today, especially in places like Vietnam. One of the statistics I heard yesterday in meeting with the team is that 65% of the population is 35 years or younger, which is pretty amazing because it's the millennials that are bringing in a lot of this change that we're seeing in the industry. Mobile devices, the amount of data that exists out there. There's a lot of disruption that's going on today. Now, the IT industry absolutely has technologies that can help with all of this disruption. The one key issue with some of these technologies is they are inherently very disruptive to your current organizations and IT ecosystem. Let's take Hadoop and big data, for example. If anybody in this room has looked at Hadoop and compared it to a traditional Oracle architecture, they are night and day. Hadoop architecturally is so different to a traditional Oracle or SQL database that what a lot of customers now are being forced to do is they have to set up all of these technologies, these new disruptive technologies in silos. And that's a problem. It's a problem because we just got out of the world of mainframe computing. And one of the biggest challenges with mainframe computing was that you had to set up your IT in silos. And doing that eventually leads to more cost, complexity in management, which is not something IT departments can do given all the disruption that's going on. So that's one key trend. The second one is the role of the CIO is fundamentally changing. As IT becomes more and more of an enabler of the overarching business, one of the challenges CIOs face is they have to be more business savvy than IT savvy. They need to better understand how IT can enable the business. So one of the trends that we are seeing is as business sophistication with the CIO and the IT department goes up, IT sophistication starts going down. The result of that is how can solution providers like Dell make it easier and more seamless to deliver and deploy technologies for our customers. So those are the two key trends which form the basis of our overarching future-ready enterprise strategy. Like I said, the key aspect for our customers to focus on is, how do I introduce disruptive technologies into my ecosystem, into your ecosystem, without having to set them up in silos and eventually lead to a more complex environment and ultimately increase costs. And that's where we believe a lot of our customers are at this intersection of traditional IT and new IT. Traditional IT being a traditional Oracle, SQL database. New IT being Hadoop deployments, vSAN, storage spaces, cloud computing, and all of those disruptive technologies that the market is bringing to bear for our customers, for you. We believe the only answer to this new world that you are in is to be able to manage both traditional IT and new IT with one single comprehensive set of compute-centric infrastructure. Prakash from Intel mentioned this a short while ago. If you look at all the new IT trends, one of the key factors that is common in all of them is everything is x86 standards-based compute-centric architectures. Look at the way Hadoop is being deployed. Look at a vSAN deployment. Look at storage spaces. None of them uses consolidated storage. That said, I'm not going to stand here and say traditional architectures are going to go away. They're not. At the end of the day, there is only one way to run a traditional Oracle database, an online transaction processing system or a business processing system. There is only one way, and it's with consolidated storage. So I don't say traditional IT is going to go away. What I say is we've got to find a better way for our customers to be able to introduce disruptive technologies into their environment and strike that balance between the world of traditional IT and this new IT. And we believe Dell is uniquely positioned to do this. Anantai already walked through this slide, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But there's one key thing I want to call out. When we look at the industry and look at all the vendors, we put them in these four categories. On the left-hand side, when you look at legacy systems and the new proprietary solutions, the biggest challenge when it comes to any of them is this notion of proprietary and lock-in. Now, why is that important? Let me give you one simple example. Last year, we saw flash storage come up in a big way. Big way. Last year, literally 12 months ago, flash storage was available at $25 a gig. $25 a gig. Today, with the Dell SC4000, you can get flash storage at less than $5 a gig. In 1 year, we managed to reduce the overall cost of ownership of flash storage by 1/5. I can pretty much guarantee you, by the end of this year, flash storage will be available for all of you at less than $2 a gig. That's how fast the industry is moving. Now let me ask you this. What if you were locked in to proprietary technology? Could you take advantage of that trend, or would you be paying 5 times the cost that you could get in the market? That's the biggest issue with proprietary technologies. That's the biggest issue with being locked in. Look, 30, 40 years ago, we all could look at one company and say all the innovation is going to come from one company, and that was IBM. But that was 30 or 40 years ago. In the last 10 years, you guys tell me, where is innovation coming from? Innovation is not coming from the IBMs of the world. It's coming from small startups across the globe. And your ability to be able to take advantage of all of that innovation in the fastest and the most seamless manner possible is going to be absolutely critical and will pay a profound impact on all of these disruptive trends and getting your IT to be as efficient as possible. On the bottom right-hand side, you see these commodity vendors. It's cheap. There's no question about it. No question about it. It's cheap. However, let me ask you this. Who's going to do systems management for you? Who's going to do remote management for you? Who's going to do global support for customers who have a vision of taking their solutions globally? Who's going to do that? They don't do that. They just give you the cheapest box possible. So what tends to happen with a lot of the commodity system manufacturers is your acquisition cost is very low. But the burden of all the system management, all the global support capabilities lies on the customer. And therefore, your ongoing costs become extremely expensive. So you need to be careful when you look at some of these commodity system manufacturers. And that's where we believe we come to the IT industry with a fundamentally different point of view. We do not have a legacy networking business. We do not have a legacy storage business. We don't operate on proprietary ASICs. We don't operate around proprietary protocols. We do everything open and standards-based, which is why software-defined storage with companies like Nutanix, open networking with companies like Cumulus and Big Switch, which is why Dell can bring those to you faster than pretty much anybody in the industry today. So let's talk about what are we doing as part of this future-ready enterprise for our customers. We believe there are 5 key pillars that we are bringing to bear for our customers. The first one, workload ready. You don't buy servers because they look good. You buy servers to run applications, and the more integrated your servers are with the application, and not just servers, server storage, networking, the more integrated they are with the application, the easier it will be for you to deliver, to deploy, and to manage those workloads in your environment. Virtual ready. We've seen virtualization have a profound impact. There's no question that virtualization has led to tremendous cost savings. The challenge with virtualization is that it introduces an additional element manager in your ecosystem, which increases the complexity. So I talk to a lot of customers, and all of them say, I can do virtualization in test and dev, but I can't do it in production. It's too complex. I've hit a 40% wall when it comes to virtualizing my infrastructure. So what is critical in virtual-ready infrastructure is how do you integrate all of your element managers to make it easier for customers to deliver and deploy and manage those technologies. The next one, software-defined. Software-defined is one of the most powerful movements that's there. Let's take one example. Take the example of Cisco. Till today, Cisco networking is based on proprietary silicon. Let me ask you something. Wasn't the silicon problem solved more than a decade ago by our friends at Intel? Why would you pay for proprietary silicon when silicon is available in the most open standards-based architectures in the world? That's what open networking tries to do. Imagine a world in which you could take a standard x86 server, put whatever operating system you're most comfortable with, Microsoft, Linux, and then turn that into a networking port. Imagine that world, how much easier it will be for you to deploy and manage those architectures in your environment. That's the power of software-defined. Cloud ready. There's no question that cloud is going to have a huge impact on the way our customers do business. However, the one challenge with cloud is, depending on which vendor you pick, you can get access to that specific cloud only. If you go with Amazon, all you get is a public cloud. If you go with Microsoft, all you get is a Microsoft cloud. If you go with VMware, all you get is a VMware cloud. The power in cloud is to be able to give you the choice and flexibility to deploy whatever cloud you want, entirely dependent on the application in question. What is the SLA for the application? Security SLAs. Control SLAs, governance SLAs, performance SLAs. Based on your criteria for each application, you should have the flexibility to be able to pick what cloud do you want for what application. And then, taking it to the next level, you should be able to integrate any cloud with any cloud. So if you decide for your travel system, a public cloud is the right way to go, and then you decide for your online transaction processing system, a private cloud is the right way to go, you should have the ability to integrate that public cloud with private cloud and be able to manage by one single pane of glass and not have to go to multiple consoles to be able to manage it. And lastly, big data optimized. There is tremendous power in being able to take all of the data that resides in your organization and use it for real-time decision making. The one challenge, big data is complicated. If any of you have ever tried to do a Hadoop deployment, it's not easy. It's not easy to integrate in your current environment. It's not easy to manage. So it's critical that the vendors and the solution providers you work with are strong on all of these 5 pillars. All of their data center should be workload ready. It should be virtual infrastructure ready. You should have the option of software defined. You should have the flexibility and choice to pick the right cloud for the right application in your ecosystem. And you should have access to disruptive technologies like big data that allow you to make better decisions at a faster point in time. This is where Dell is going to be focused on bringing innovation to our customers. And I'm going to give you some examples across all of these 5 to show you how we're thinking about this. Workload ready. The Dell Accelerated Database Appliance for Oracle actually integrates Dell hardware with Oracle. And oh, by the way, Oracle Enterprise Manager is fully integrated. So now you can actually provision all of your server storage networking through Oracle Enterprise Manager, so that your Oracle database administrator now doesn't have to flip between 3 and 4 consoles to be able to just set up and manage that application. Now, your Oracle database administrator can do all of that stuff through Oracle Enterprise Manager. And we didn't stop at Oracle. We took that appliance to SQL, Cassandra, MongoDB, and a bunch of other databases. And that's how we're trying to simplify the delivery, the deployment, and management of applications in your environments. Virtual ready. Here's an interesting statistic. From the time you get all of the equipment, server storage, networking, software, everything around virtualization, it takes customers an average of 16 hours to set up their first VM. 16 hours to set up their first VM. We co-engineered Evo Rail with VMware. With the Evo Rail appliance, now you can take down that 16 hours to 12 minutes. Pre-tested, pre-configured system that comes into your environment, and it takes you 12 minutes to set up your first VM. But hey, a lot of you have existing virtualization environments, so you might not want that. In which case, you take any of our element managers, Dell, PowerEdge, Open Manage Essentials, Dell Compelling, Enterprise Manager, Dell EcoLogic, Group Manager, Dell Networking, Active Fabric Manager. Take any of those, and they are fully integrated with Microsoft Hyper-V or VMware v7. So if you're a customer who's trying to get up to 40, 50, 60, 70% virtualization, guess where your admins spend most of their time? In the hypervisor console. And the more we can integrate the provisioning and deployment of our server storage networking in that hypervisor console, the easier it is for your folks to manage those environments. And that's what we've done across all of our element managers at Dell. Software defined. I already talked a little about open networking. Break the shackles of proprietary ASICs and proprietary silicon. Go deploy networking on a standard x86 architecture with the operating system that your folks are most comfortable with, whether it be Microsoft or some version of Linux. We worked closely with Cumulus and Big Switch, a couple of partners of ours in the open networking space, to be able to deliver those technologies. Same thing with Nutanix on software-defined storage. Look at any deployment around vSAN storage spaces Hadoop. The ideal way to do that is a software-defined storage way. And we work with probably the leading company in the world around software-defined storage, Nutanix. And by the way, we are the only tier 1 vendor in the industry today that can bring you that capability along with Nutanix. Here's an interesting fact about Nutanix. Nutanix does somewhere in the range of $150 to $200 million of revenue globally. Do you know what Nutanix's valuation is today? $3.5 billion. That's how hot that company is. And that's the faith Wall Street has in how well it will do. And back to the point I made earlier, Dell has no legacy in storage or networking. We can work with pretty much any partner to bring this kind of innovation to you in the fastest and the most seamless manner possible. Cloud ready. I talked about choice and flexibility, public, private cloud. You decide what application should reside where. With Dell Boomi, you can pretty much take any public cloud environment and any private cloud environment and integrate the underlying data so those databases actually talk to each other. So you're not setting IT up in silos. With Dell Cloud Manager, you can take any public cloud pane of glass with any private cloud deployment you have. So like I said, if you decide, you believe your online transaction processing or your business processing system should live in a private cloud, and you are, for example, heavily virtualized with VMware, you can pick a vCloud private cloud. And then if you decide your public cloud needs to reside with Amazon, you can pick Amazon. With Dell Boomi, we'll help you integrate those databases so they can talk. And with Dell Cloud Manager, we'll give you one single console so you can manage that environment through one pane of glass. And lastly, big data optimized. I said one of the biggest challenges our customers face in deploying big data technology is complexity. The second biggest challenge for those who have actually deployed Hadoop in their environment is you will notice the transaction engine for Hadoop, which is MapReduce, is actually quite slow. And it defeats the purpose of big data because it does not allow you to make decisions in real time. So what did we do? For the issue of complexity, we worked with a company called Cloudera. That's the leading deployer of Hadoop platforms across the globe. And we created an appliance that is fully integrated, pre-built, pre-configured, pre-tested, so that we can seamlessly deliver it in your environment. We also looked at open source technologies, specifically Apache Spark. And Apache Spark, the integration of Apache Spark in this appliance resulted in a 15x improvement in the transactions over MapReduce. So now, you can seamlessly deploy. You don't have to have the burden of right-sizing and testing these environments. We have done that for you. You can focus on the business, and you can focus on how that big data can help you drive better and faster decision making. Now, I talked a lot about appliances and reference architectures that can seamlessly be deployed in your environments. However, we will acknowledge a lot of you in this room have highly sophisticated IT shops, and the way you like to buy is look at servers, look at storage, look at the best networking you can find, and cobble that all together in your data centers. So we understand that a lot of you prefer best of breed buying, and you don't want pre-tested, pre-configured appliances or reference architectures. Well, in that case, we pretty much have leading portfolios around our server, storage, and networking. On the server side, one example I will use for you is one of the biggest challenges we've heard from customers, literally in the last decade, was rack versus blades. And in today's world, you have to pick. Most customers love racks for management. But when you're in a high-cost real estate market, you love blades because of the density it provides for you. In the previous one, you have to choose. You have to choose whether you're going to go for ease of management or greater density. With the PowerEdge FX, we created a system which is ultra-modular and highly flexible, so that now you can no longer have to choose between management and density. Imagine the management capability of a rack ecosystem merged together with the density of blades, and that's what the PowerEdge FX gives for you. On the storage side, I talked a lot about software-defined storage. We do have a traditional storage arm. It's important because look at even the Exchange application. Under 50,000 mailbox, every reference architecture from Microsoft says, hey, you're fine deploying Exchange on storage close to servers. Above 50,000 mailboxes, guess what? You need consolidated storage. Every reference architecture will tell you that. So we have the traditional storage arm. Compellent, in fact, has been growing 30% year over year, or greater than 30% year over year for the last 6 quarters, for the simple reason, for two simple reasons. Flash storage and all the innovation we have done around flash. $25 a gig, down to $5 a gig, going to $2 a gig by the end of this year. The second key aspect of Compellent is automated tiering, and the fact that it's a hybrid flash array. Why do you want to keep all of your storage on the same medium? We know, you know, that all of the data you have is not as important as each other. Some data is accessed a lot more often and is a lot more mission critical. Other data is not as mission critical. With automated tiering on Compellent, now you don't have to worry about where and on what medium this data resides. Your most accessed hot data will reside on the fastest medium possible, flash. And your least accessed non-mission critical data will reside on the cheapest storage possible. And oh, by the way, the array will either do that for you, or you have the ability to go tweak the array and set your own conditions around what data resides, where does it reside, and how does it get moved. And lastly, we launched very recently a couple of new products around networking. I already talked to you about open networking. In addition to that, the Z9100 that we launched very recently is now 10 gig, 25 gig, 40 gig, 50 gig, and 100 gig compatible. So you are future-proofing yourself today that if at some point in time you encounter an application that literally requires throughputs of 100 gig, your investment today will work 3 to 5 years down the line. In summary, we talked about how Dell is focused on bringing you data center infrastructure that's workload ready, virtual infrastructure ready, software defined, cloud ready, and big data optimized. And we talked about the options you have depending upon how sophisticated your IT departments are. Engineered solutions with the appliances, their blueprints are all the reference architectures that we talked about around those 5 pillars. And then finally, we talked about best of breed around our server storage networking. What we ultimately want to do is give our customers the choice of what kind of technology do they want, how do they want it delivered, how do they want it deployed, how do they want it managed in the most seamless manner possible, so you can go focus on the business and enabling business performance without having to worry about keeping the lights on in your environment. Again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for coming to our event. I'm going to be around all day. If you have any questions, I will be more than glad to have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Kính thưa quý vị, trong thời gian gần đây, khái niệm Internet of Things đang phát triển vô cùng mạnh mẽ và trở thành một cuộc cách mạng mới của công nghệ điện toán, tạo ra một kỷ nguyên mới của sự kết nối. Và trong phần tiếp theo của chương trình ngày hôm nay, để chia sẻ với quý vị thêm những thông tin về Internet of Things, ngay sau đây tôi xin được trân trọng giới thiệu bài trình bày của chủ đề này của ông Duncan Lee, kỹ sư công nghệ thông tin tới từ Intel. Xin được trân trọng kính mời ông. Please welcome Mr. Duncan Lee, IT expert from Intel.